So session one, is this the stage or is this the end of the relationship? So what I wanted to create for you was a place that you could really honestly and courageously ask yourself, what's going on with my relationship and what is making me feel so ambivalent and unhappy in my day to day with this person? What's going on with me and what's going on with them? So if you can be honest with yourself in this series and really ask yourself what has been happening, what led up to this, what stressors have been in the picture for quite some time, and where's the love factor? Where's the happiness factor? Where's the joy factor? Where's the intimacy? What is working and what seems to be depleted or non-existent in your relationship? Okay, firstly, let's normalize this. If you're in a long-term relationship, things are going to shift. It's not going to feel like that very idealized stage of the relationship when you were dating, but it should every once in a while. And some of the signs that you can tell that the relationship is depleted is because there's a lot of blame, there's a lot of shame, and there's a lot of withdrawal and disconnection, and not feeling like you want to connect with the other person, but rather you're trying to avoid them and trying to actually live parallel lives. So if any of this is happening to you in your relationship, it might be really big time to take a look. So let's make the discernment, the deciding process, a triangle, right? So in each corner, there's a C. There's compassion, there's courage, and there's clarity. So we want to find out what all of these mean. So what could you say you need to be really honest about right now? And it could be things like, I'm really not attracted to this person anymore. Or I really am just waiting for the time that I can be on my own and doing my own thing. What is that? The compassion piece is about putting yourself in their shoes. What must it be like for them if I'm exhibiting this kind of behavior? And what might they be going through? And having compassion for yourself. So, what kinds of things are you going through in your life? Has there been a lot of stressors? Do you not feeling good about yourself? Are you having like self-esteem issues, body issues, work issues, just things that aren't making you very happy and easy to be around? And then we're also looking for clarity, right? And courage to talk to each other about these things without making each other feel so bad. Like, I am concerned about us. I am worrying about you. I am concerned about myself. I need to tell you what I feel is going on with me. Those would be honest conversations to have. So if we talked about the three triangles, we could also add one more, which is communicate. Clarity, compassion, courage. And then we have to find ways to communicate with each other. So instead of shutting things down, we open them up and we have discussions. And another C word, curiosity. Why is this happening? And creative. How can we do something different? And the compassion piece also comes into, if we can't get through this, that we will be respectful and kind to each other during this process, because that's the whole part, right? We can either go into responsiveness around this discernment process, or we can go into reactivity where it becomes something that we can't even communicate about. And that is something to try to avoid. And this is one of the parts, is to educate yourself, to learn, to be emotionally inquisitive with yourself. So let's feel like or let's take a look at normalizing some of the long-term relationship problems. And one is, it's a normal human need to have some space to yourself. And actually, our space on our own helps us go towards the other person, not move away from them. It helps us want to be with them more, typically. And the other is that it's important to take a few minutes to have conflict once in a while. Conflict is a healthy part of any relationship. The way you have conflict, though, isn't to seek and destroy and to say such harsh things that people don't want to come near you. It's to actually think about what you're saying. And if you're not speaking well, to go back and repair those things. So sometimes we really have to look at that some of these things that are challenging us in the relationship are normal parts of being in a long-term relationship. And asking for things, having successful, productive conflict, working things out, and having clarity about what is beyond this. So let's go to the clarity questions. If you want to really ask yourself that question, what's really happening to me? What am I really feeling about the other person? What am I afraid to communicate to them? So sometimes I hear people say they're just unattracted to the other person. They don't know why. And if they're able to have that conversation in a gentle way and the person's able to respond, then that brings a lot of hope to the other person. And maybe that is the attractive quality that they needed to see all along, which is that the person just cared about themselves, and that if you're attractive to yourself, then you're most likely going to be attracted to the person that you're with. I remember that I was working with a couple and they had a hardest time saying that. And sometimes it's gone so badly too in sessions where people actually say things that are just so difficult in terms of physical, um, what would be the word? Comments about the other person, that it's shut that person completely down. So my question to you is, if that's something that you're feeling, no matter what it is, how could you talk about it so you actually open up a conversation? So I'm noticing you're not feeling well about yourself, that you don't seem to be happy with how you're looking, or you're not really dressing up like we used to. And that makes me feel like you're not attracted to yourself, so it's hard for me to feel like I can come toward you being attracted to you. And if that person's going through a depression, or if they've had some kind of change of life, sometimes people have physical issues and they don't feel like they can be in their body. And this is the example that I'm using. And so being able to say that to another person of how important it is for you to feel like they like themselves so that you can like them, that would make a big difference. And how can you support them? Sometimes people have gone out on shopping sprees and that person has just felt like $1,000,000, or they started walking with them in the morning, or they started to really work on changing the diet of the home, or they cut back on alcohol and found other ways to spend time. So there are ways that we can find these very difficult things to address, and address them easily and supportively and compassionately, and that could bring the spark back. So my question is that if you're feeling like you can't do that, that you've crossed a mark, that you feel like I haven't been connected with this person for a long time. I just didn't catch it, and nor did they. And they're not seeming to be concerned about it either. So if that's the case and it's gone too far, and what I'm saying is more of like cheerleading you forward to try to put the relationship together, then let's talk about that, because those things can also be talked about. Like, I feel like we've grown apart, really apart. And I don't know if I have the energy to work on the relationship. Do you? And I don't want one of us to feel like the other person has to be the initiator, or the other person's going to be to blame if they don't have the energy. But I want to talk about when the energy changed and when we started to turn away from each other, to look at that. Is there a way to have those kinds of conversations? Usually when people come to discernment counseling, these are kind of scary conversations to have, hard conversations to have on their own, but they're willing to kind of spend some time having those conversations in my sessions with them. So I want you to think about that. If there's somebody else who's very compassionate holding space with you, can you have these conversations with them and just see where they go? But your own inquiry about where you are is really critical, because that will be your orientation. And if you're one of the people in the relationship that really wants the relationship to have a comeback, then you have to communicate that. And you also have to be communicating that you're scared that the other person might not want that, and that you're hoping that you get the kind of support to face whatever is going on, and to stick with that piece of the triangle, that we're going to be compassionate no matter what. So welcome to session 1.